Good morning, everybody. Good to see
morning.
so many faces out and about this morning. It's my pleasure to welcome our director, Susan Hoskins, to the platform this morning, and I know she's got some great updates to share on the Ferris building, so I'll let you tell us what we know.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here to find out what's going on with the Ferris Grand. So I'm going to give you some background on the property and what the plans are. The Historical Society does own that. So this is the building that's located at 106 East Main Street in downtown Pipestone. It is a 3-story Sioux Quartzite masonry building with local and statewide historical significance, both for its architecture and for the important community role that it's played in Pipestone throughout the building's 127-year history. So the building was built by Pipestone businessman A.D. Ferris to house retail stores on the street level and an auditorium space for the Ferris Grand Opera House on the upper level. Construction began in 1898. They completed it over the winter, and it actually opened in March of 1899. The Opera House provided Pipestone with a venue and entertainment for community gatherings until it closed in 1916. So the Ferris Grand is actually a contributing property in the Pipestone Commercial Historic District, which is a 2-block district which features Minnesota's largest concentration of turn-of-the-century Sioux Quartzite buildings. And the Ferris Grand shares distinctive characteristics with the other historic buildings that comprise the district, including a street facade designed in a similar commercial style and utilizing the locally quarried dressed Sioux Quartzite stone. So there is the use of 2 color variations, hard to tell in a black and white picture. It's in the local quartzite, so you get a dark red stone that was quarried near Pipestone and a lighter pink stone which creates wall patterns, kind of a checkerboard pattern of alternating red and pink quartzite across the buildings below the parapet. This particular building has the arched masonry comb flanked by 2 corbelled drums. And you can kind of see that on our building there. But I did want to point out the checkerboard pattern, which you can see near the top of 2 buildings there, and then also the building on the corner. It's actually repeated on other buildings downtown, so it does all kind of tie together. You can see it again on this picture. The adjacent building to the west, 104 East Main Street, which today houses the lobby of the Performing Arts Center, predates the Ferris Grand. It was actually built in 1887. The Ferris Grand builders utilized the pre-existing neighboring wall. So the exterior wall of the Ferris is actually built on top of the exterior wall of the adjoining building. And this is found throughout our downtown, which really leads to some issues then later on. The adjacent building to the east, 110 East Main, was built concurrently with the Ferris Grand in 1890. What did I say? 98. Yeah. These 2 buildings, they actually share a facade feature as well as a common party wall. The street level, the first floor of the buildings is actually built as one building. They just flow into each other, and they actually divide partway up through the second floor when the owner of the east building parted ways with Mr. Ferris, and they decided to build separate buildings. They originally were going to build that building was going to be all one building. Today that's Dawn's Clothier, was originally included in the Ferris Grand plans. So I will also mention that the lower facade of the Ferris Grand block was modernized in 1958 with a storefront of brick and enameled steel panels. So I built a timeline here for our building. I love a good timeline, puts everything into perspective. It was built in 1899 as an opera house. Pipestone had a series of frontier opera houses before the Ferris Grand, but this new building was the first to be built of stone and on a scale that could rival auditoriums in larger cities. It did have a relatively short run. Never likely hosted, of course, a true opera performance, but there were plenty of traveling stage shows, light opera, as well as other events such as lecture series, patriotic events, political rallies, wrestling matches. It was really a community theater, is what it was. And it's actually possible, it's thought that maybe the rise of moving picture houses kind of led to the demise of the community theater building. So the Ferris Grand Opera House closed in 1916. Then as a Masonic hall, the Pipestone Masonic Lodge had actually been chartered in 1882, and they were located in other locations in Pipestone, but saw an opportunity with this building. The second floor of the vacant Opera House, it offered suitable space for their growing organization. So the Opera Hall portion of the building was remodeled in 1917, and the street level remained retail and business places. So under the Masonic Lodge, the lodge itself was flourishing. They built an addition to the rear of the building, two-story addition, in 1934, which, if you think about it, was at the height of the Depression. So the Masons did host community events in the new dining hall, including recitals, high school sports banquets. It actually was one of the largest, it was the largest assembly space in town that did not have fixed seating at that time. And actually, in 1939 and 1940, prom was held in that space in the Masonic Lodge. These are actually prom dance cards came with a pencil, so you could fill in who you were going to dance with. Back to our timeline here. The longtime establishment on the street level, which was the S&L department store, it had occupied space in the Ferris Grand block since the 1920s. It closed in the early 1990s, and in its place, a nonprofit tenant, the Pipestone Performing Arts Center, moved in and installed a new street level auditorium in the former retail space. So then it transferred to the Pipestone County Historical Society. The Masons had owned the building since 1916. So with a decline in the local Masonic Lodge membership, in 2013, the Masonic bodies gave the building to the Pipestone County Historical Society. And the Pipestone County Historical Society immediately pursued a building condition assessment in order to fit this property into our mission. As maintaining a historical building is, it's a big deal. There's a lot going on with these buildings. So we hired the Preservation Alliance of Minnesota and received grant money from the state of Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, as well as a grant from the Virginia Suite Preservation Fund for Minnesota through the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And we had this reuse study completed in 2015. This is the study. It looked at 3 areas of the building. It included an architectural assessment, a decorative finishes assessment for the interior, and a reuse assessment. And so for the architectural assessment, we hired architect Paul Ormseth to study the condition and the existing special arrangement of the building. For decorative finishes assessment, we hired consultant Dan Tarvino, and he held a preliminary investigation to assess the painting techniques, the condition and conservation needs for the murals and other internal features in the Masonic Lodge level. So if you haven't been in the building, the lodge, what became the lodge room, has beautiful murals painted floor to ceiling in that room. And then for the reuse assessment, we hired real estate consultant Steve Perkins, who evaluated reuse options based on the strength of the local economy and existing complementary or competing venues in the area. And then also we held some community meetings to gauge the community needs and desires. So we had this study done in 2015. That study became the framework for that PCHS has used in order to, as they say, secure the envelope of the building and to work towards ensuring the structural integrity of the historic building. So in the architectural study, they outlined 4 areas of structure. I don't want to say structural concern. It's 4 areas that we should be aware of to be looking at. They outline those areas. So in 2019, we received a grant from the state of Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. This is largely spoken of as the legacy grants. And we hired an architect to review structural assessments of the areas that were outlined in the condition report, and also to create construction drawings for each area. So we hired LHB of Minneapolis, and have been working with architect Mike Lovato on this project. And the scope of work outlined 5 separate projects, which we have since combined into 4 projects. So that includes the north elevation rehabilitation, the repointing of the front of the building. The remaining elevation rehabilitation, so repointing the remaining 3 sides of the building. It will need a new roof. And then there was also some work written up for foundation masonry rehabilitation, and that would be interior, and structural repairs in the basement. They ordered these in order that we should approach them. And so we got the construction drawings on all the projects ready to go with that grant. So we received another grant in 2022. And we were working with LHB again, hired a contractor to conduct the rehabilitation on the north facade, including a full repointing of the stone, which means they actually dug out several inches of the mortar and replaced it. And of course, we had to test that before, so we got an exact match of the mortar when we put the new in. They also reset a portion of the parapet, meaning they actually took part of the wall down and rebuilt it. And we sealed the windows, patched 2 stone plaques. And this was also funded by a grant from the state of Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. You probably remember this because that scaffolding was up all summer. Another couple pictures of this, and A lot of people missed the rebuilding of the parapet. They actually took the comb section in the middle off. Here's a picture of it gone, but they did it so fast that most people didn't notice that they did that. So a couple of pictures of that, what the back of it looks like from the roof side. That was a big deal. You can see the man standing on the capstones that actually go on the top. And those are very heavy. And they were up there maneuvering those, the workers. So they did a great job. And they did it very fast. They did that part of the work very fast. So in 2026, so late in 2025, we were awarded another grant, and the work will begin this spring. We'll be working again with LHB, where we will be hiring a contractor to conduct rehabilitation of the remaining 3 elevations, including a full repointing. This was again funded through the state of Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. I have some pictures here of the sidewalls. The actual wall facing the alley is brick. It also needs to be repointed. Remember, it was built in 1934. This is a picture of, I believe, the west wall. It's a rubble wall, meaning it's not shaped stone and faced. And the little pictures, it's hard to see. The top one actually has a pencil in the hole showing how much work needs to be done to seal the envelope on this building. We are receiving interior water damage on the west side through the stone wall. We've had the roof looked at. The roof is not leaking. So this will happen this summer, and we'll put an end to the internal leaking. So we'll also, of course, be sealing the windows. There's just a few windows, and repairing. Some of the windows have a cast cement sill. They need to be repaired. And then also, this is something else you might not have noticed. I wish I had a picture of it, but on the east side, so on Dawn's side of the building, Clothier by Dawn, there's some sheet metal cladding on that front of the building. And that's strange, but that turns out that when they were building the original building with the plans, remember that was all going to be one building, and then they parted ways. So that portion of the wall is not stone. It's actually a wood frame behind it. So that will, of course, be totally stripped off. They'll be weather sealed, and then put back, similar new will be put back on. So we'll button that up too. In the interim of all these grant projects, and I need to iterate again that there is grant money available, and we have been bringing that money into the Pipestone community to help us maintain these historic buildings. But these grant rounds take a number of years, and you could see that when I'm saying, 2019, 2022, 2026. So we're doing them, these phases of the project as fast as we can. This is just how long it takes. So in the interim, there are other rehabilitations happening in the Ferris Grand block that the Pipestone County Historical Society pays for out of pocket and through fundraising. And I have just some of these. There's a lot more things going on in that building, but we recently updated the electrical system. There were still fuse boxes in a portion of the building, so we now have the breaker boxes. So that's a definite improvement. We had a number of roof repairs. There were actually holes formed in or torn in the vinyl membrane of the roof. So this is showing there was a patch that didn't take, so we had to have professionals come back in and patch it appropriately. And then, of course, just as soon as we had taken the scaffolding down, we had a wind, as we do, blew a portion of the new parapet coping off the building. Didn't hit anybody, thank goodness. So we had that repaired. And you can kind of see, it's supposed to be maroon. It's missing. It's back on there now. But there's always something going on with a building. Also, of course, in the fall of 2024, a car drove through the Performing Arts Center stage doors. So, and these are the doors, they're on the street level, they're facing Main Street. And this happened, I am not kidding you, right after we had replaced the doors from 1993. Brand new doors. Drove the car through there. So we had to have repairs, replace the stage doors for a second time, and I gotta say, insurance did not cover the entirety of the bill, as it often doesn't. Also, we had the double, we paid for these twice. We had received some grant money to cover a portion of it. Anyway, so the new stage doors look great. The whole entry's done, ready to go. The total repairs cost about $15,000 more on our end to get that all back to how it was in the first place. So these things come up. So we're always fundraising for this building, plus we are trying to do restoration work on it as well. So it lasts another 127 years. This is a picture of the historic Masonic Lodge room with the murals in there. So in 1917, an Austrian immigrant, Leo Henke, he painted these walls. It just really adds to the room's splendor. It's amazing. In recent years, as I mentioned, there's been increasing water damage to a portion of the murals on the east wall that would be on this side. So this year's repointing work should really take care of the water infiltration, and in the future, mural restoration is on our list. But we had to take care of the outside of the building in the order that the architects told us the importance was. Also this year, we have the Ferris Grand fundraiser. We've been holding this for about 3 years. I think we've gone to every other year now. This is a major fundraiser for this building. It helps to fund some of the repairs and ongoing maintenance that I mentioned. This year it is February 21st. That's a Saturday. It starts at 5 p.m. Tickets are still available at the museum. You can buy them here today. They go fast, so we're really getting our advertising going. We do have sponsors for this event, so we're really grateful to them. We have Jack of Trades, the Pipestone County Medical Center and Family Clinic, Pepsi, and the Olive Ear Sheep Shearing. They sponsor our event. We have a great time at this. We have the Cattlemen. Pipestone County Cattlemen's Association is grilling up steaks for us. We're going to be playing a lot of games. We're going to have some entertainment, theatrical readings. So the theme kind of is to share some of our murder and mayhem stories. They're stories that maybe weren't in the booklet. We do have the booklet available here for purchase too as a fundraiser. But anyway, I would just really invite anyone to attend this fundraiser. There is extremely limited seating, but we always have a great time. We are selling single tickets, so you can get 2 tickets, you can get 1 ticket, you could get 3 tickets. So that's new this year. We used to always sell them in pairs. So as I said again, this fundraiser helps to fund the ongoing maintenance and rehabilitation of the beautiful building. We are just checking off our jobs as we go through. We know what we need to do with the building, and we're just doing one thing at a time. So that is what's going on with the Ferris Grand block. Thank you. Yes. Well, that portion today, since the Pipestone County Historical Society took ownership of the building, on the second floor, that is actually part of our museum exhibits. We put a doorway through our adjoining wall, and we have extended exhibits in that space. On the main floor, that's backstage, yeah, of the Pipestone Community Theater, yeah.
Sylvia was there.
I think Sylvia does work there.
They did the roof first, is that what you said, kinda, or not?
Our plan?
Yeah, the plan.
No, no.
So what is that roof you saying, vinyl, what's underneath?
Yeah, it's a vinyl roof, yeah.
What's underneath that then? Just the top of the second floor?
Probably the subroof, yeah.
And it was always a vinyl roof?
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
That seems very unusual, I mean,
Is that what you're replacing it with? Just
Um,
a piece of vinyl?
That's the plan, yes.
you're gonna stay with the vinyl.
How much is your grant?
Our grant that we just received to repoint the 3 elevations is $177,000.
Will that cover it?
Let's hope so. That's the other part of our fundraising. So as anything comes up during the construction that there isn't enough grant money to stretch that far, or the grant won't cover something, that is something our fundraising money comes in to cover as well, because it will need to be done.
That is, vinyl roofs are good, I guess, fair.
All right.
How about the Masonic Lodge? Do they still meet someplace? Are they still active?
This particular lodge, Quarry Lodge in Pipestone, has turned in their charter, so they are no longer active.
Okay. And that stairway up to the lodge is terrible. Is that going to be replaced?
Just a moment. So access to the second floor right now is through the stairs. In the future, of course, we would like to see an elevator put in to access that property, but right now we're working through the elements of the structural concerns of the building.
Sure.
So that is definitely on the list to get an elevator. We do know an elevator is necessary. One thing at a time.
That stairway is terrible.
Didn't they have a chair there for a while?
What was your question?
Well,
Yes.
we just know what Dad said, one in town, one guy lost his mule. Couldn't find it. But he went, some kid on Halloween night, took it upstairs,
Oh boy.
then, Dad drove, working it, and the mule tearing the seats apart, eating stuff in it.
Somebody took a mule upstairs on Halloween. That's not allowed anymore, so that won't be happening, no.
Should be in the paper.
I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys, and have a great day.